He craved the throne and envisioned himself as a ruler of legend. Welcome to Raid Story Legends with me, LeilaFox, and special guest Deadwood Jedi. Hey there, I'm LeilaFox. Welcome to Raid Story Legends. This is a weekly YouTube series where I share lore from some of our favorite champs in RAIDShadow Legends. Now, today's video is a lot of fun because not only are we sharing the story for Ramantu Drakesblood, but we also have our special guest and friend Deadwood Jedi, and this is also a gems giveaway. So stick around and enjoy the story with us. Hey guys, so I'm really excited that today we have our good friend Deadwood Jedi joining us for this great story. Deadwood, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, as always. I look forward to these.
Yes, thank you. It's always so much fun doing these stories with you because you always add so much flavor, so much extra to these stories, and it just makes it so much more fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a story, right? It's about engaging your imagination. So the more I can help people do that, the better. Because my imagination is fully engaged all the time. It's just, it's a curse or a blessing. I don't know which, but it's there.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing for sure. All right, guys, so we are going to get into the story for Ramantu Drakesblood.
The Prince of Drakes. He of Fang and Flame. Warden of the Ancestral Lance. Those are but a few names that once belonged to Ramantu Drakesblood. Long before the first ivory spire of Aravia had been raised, his kin ruled in the golden age of the Lizardmen. Descended from the mighty dragons of old, these warriors were renowned for their fierce temper and skill in battle. Their subjects revered them as demigods, whose right to lead had been ordained by the progenitor of the entire race, the great dragon himself.
During the reign of Ramantu's father, the Lizardmen enjoyed a period of prosperity that was barely disturbed by the conflicts between rival tribes that made up their empire. The prince himself led his hosts to quell such skirmishes many times and earned a reputation of a violent but fair commander. Alas, the power he had tasted during these expeditions led Ramantu down a dangerous path.
The longer his father reigned, the more impatient Ramantu became. He craved the throne and envisioned himself as a ruler of legend, one who would lead the dragonkin to conquest and glory unlike anything they had seen before. Such was his arrogance that Ramantu eventually rebelled against his own family. He was charismatic and well loved, and though his father was no less popular among the people, a large army soon flocked to Ramantu's banner. The peace that had lasted for decades was shattered in an instant.
For years, Ramantu and his rebels clashed against loyalist forces, without either side gaining a decisive advantage. Many victories had been won, and many a bitter defeat set them back. Split in twain by war, the Lizardmen realm began to crumble, its gates all but opened to rivers and barbarians. But there was a far deadlier foe lurking in beyond the Veil of Teleria.
Siroth, the Dark One, watched with glee as the most powerful mortal domain of its time sundered because of ambition and infighting. Like a spider, he waited for his prey to weaken and exhaust itself in a useless struggle. Then he struck. Ogrins, monsters, orcs, and savage humans united into a great horde neath the banners of Siroth's necromancers and surged forth, bent on bringing destruction and death. With the Lizardmen hosts diminished by civil war, no one could stop the invaders.
When Ramantu received the news of atrocities taking place in the southern borders, he at first thought it was a trick his father played, to sue for a trance. Yet a mysterious ally appeared with proof of what had transpired. A fury gripped his heart. With messengers hurrying ahead and proclaiming peace, the entire army took off and made for the Great Dragon Temple, where the Ramantu and his father reunited once more. They had both sworn to forget old grievances until the common enemy could be vanquished.
And so the fractured Lizardmen united once more and marched in force to meet the slaves of Shadow. Ramantu's unexpected ally, a warm-blooded woman whose sorceress powers humbled even the most learned of dragon priests, pledged her magic to battle as well. But it was not just sorcery she offered. This flame-haired woman guided the lizardmen through carefully laid traps and helped them outmaneuver Siroth's hosts time and again.
Terrible was the vengeance Ramantu wrought against the transgressors. None could stand before his wrath. Even the hellish spawn of demons fell in droves beneath the prince's lance, and his companion, who had revealed herself to be the Arbiter, ever guarded him to lay low the strongest minions of the Dark One. Within several months, the horde had been broken and scattered, and peace returned to the lands of Teleria at long last.
Then Ramantu beheld the desolation his pride has caused and despaired. Ashamed, he renounced his claim to rulership in favor of his younger kin and sworn his life to the woman who had helped him save his people. An eternity of war against evil, in its purest form, seemed to be an appropriate path to redemption. However, Ramantu did not yet realize he was among the first warriors to become champions of Lumaya, an honor he cherished and repaid with faithful service.
What a good story. I don't know what you think, but I really liked this. This one was just, it felt so in-depth, and I feel like it's so fitting for the type of champ that this is that we have added to Raid.
I fully agree. It was very cool. It reminded me of like a bunch of different fantasy novels I've been fortunate to read. You know, I mean, this whole like going wrong and, you know, character arc and redemption at the end. It's very good. Yeah, and he pays for it too, right? Like it's not like he comes off scot-free, but he has to, you know, commit himself to being this eternal champion for good along the way, as a, you know, as basically as penance for the wrongs that he caused. It's very nice. I like it.
Exactly. I love that. And again, they added Arbiter. A lot of these stories have her, but what I think is really unique about this one with her too, as we know, both Arbiter and Ramantu are the mission champs for the game.
Yeah.
So I like that they found a way to tie them in like that. And how it even said down in like the last sentence that you read about how he didn't realize he was among the first champion for Lumaya, because that's kind of what happens is we have to earn Arbiter in the game, and then same thing is we have to earn Ramantu in the game. So they become kind of the first, and so I love how they even tied both of them in together and how they're meant to work together.
Yeah, I agree. It really adds a level of depth to the story here, right? Where it's this eons long kind of event that is continuing to happen, and Arbiter's, you know, creating this army to fight for, you know, the lands there, and I really enjoyed it. I also like the background of the Lizardmen faction, right? You understand that they're a host of powerful people that, you know, had their day in the sun, and maybe they're not as strong now as they used to be, but they're still a force to be reckoned with, which kind of mirrors the champions in the game too. They're some of the strongest champions in this game, but also some, you know, as a faction maybe isn't the strongest overall. You know, it's a really nice synergy between the two things.
Right, yeah, I love, like you said there too, because they even mentioned the golden age of the Lizardmen. And I did another story previously for Chris the Ageless. If you guys had not checked out that story, I'll make sure that I have that up on the right. Check that out, because it's very similar, where it talks about how they were a great and mighty empire, and by a series of unfortunate events, their empire crumbled. And what happened to Krisk to make him the way that he is? Almost kind of similar to what happened here with Ramantu to make him how he is. And similar in that story, Arbiter shows up and Krisk works with her as well too. So it's interesting how Arbiter's in so many instances in this. She's in so many different timelines of these stories, and how it shapes and molds into what happens into the game and with these characters that we are very familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It kind of gives it this there's this through line, so it allows the game to encompass different ages, different peoples, and really brings them all together with that synergy of having Arbiter just tying them all through. She's the string that connects everything. It's very nice.
So we know that Ramantu is the next missions champ, and he's very hard to obtain. So we know no one's actually gonna have him in the game for months. Like we know this, but I'm looking forward to actually seeing what happens when he is added into the game, and what people actually think and how they enjoy him as a champion in the game.
Yeah, he looks really strong. I think people are gonna really enjoy having him. It's just it's gonna be painful to get him because it's gonna take everybody at least 9 months playing the game in order to be able to acquire him. But
Yep.
but he looks like one of those champions that's worth that effort. And so I'm excited to play with him for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to have him introduced into the game. And thank you again for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Deadwood, as always, I love having you join for these lore stories.
My pleasure. Anytime you want me to come on and read, I love it. It's always fun to me.
Yes,
So.
and I love having you here, so thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely.